My child, you have been running for so long that you no longer recognize the sound of my voice, and yet even now, in this very moment, something inside you has grown quiet enough to listen. There is a reason you are here, and there is something you still do not understand about this season of your life. I have been calling you in ways you did not expect, through moments you dismissed, through feelings you tried to ignore, and today I will begin to show you why. You thought it was just another ordinary day, just another restless night, but it was not. And before this message is over, you will see what you have been missing. You remember last night, don't you? You scrolled through your phone longer than you intended, hoping for a message that never came, and when the screen finally went dark, the silence felt louder than noise. You told yourself you were fine, that it did not matter, but deep within you, there was a question forming, one you did not dare to say out loud. Why do I feel so alone? Why does it seem like no one truly sees me? Listen to me carefully, because what I am about to say will answer that hidden question, but not in the way you expect. Look at me. I have never left you, not for a single moment, not even in the hours when you felt abandoned. You measure presence by what you can see and touch, but I move in ways your eyes cannot yet perceive. When that door closed and you felt rejected, when that conversation ended in silence, when that opportunity slipped through your hands, you believed you were losing something important. But you were not losing, you were being redirected, and I will reveal why I had to do it. Though your heart resisted, there is something else you have been carrying, something heavier than you admit. You smiled earlier today, maybe at a coworker, maybe at a stranger, but inside you felt tired, deeply tired, the kind of exhaustion that sleep does not fix. You have been strong for everyone else, holding yourself together while quietly falling apart where no one could see. Yes, I saw the moment you sat alone, staring into nothing, wondering how much longer you could keep pretending everything was okay. Why did you stop talking to me the way you used to? Not with your lips, but with your heart. There was a time when you trusted me more freely, when your faith was not tangled in doubt and disappointment. Something changed, and you have been guarding your heart ever since, afraid that if you hope again, you might be hurt again. But here is the truth you have not yet accepted. I allowed certain disappointments not to break you, but to reveal where your trust was being misplaced. You thought those people would stay forever. You thought that path would lead exactly where you plan. You thought that if you tried hard enough, you could hold everything together. But you could not, and that realization shook you more than you expected. Still, what you do not yet see is that I was protecting you from something you were not prepared to face, something that would have wounded you far deeper than what you have already experienced. Let me ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly in your heart. When everything started falling apart, did you come closer to me, or did you slowly pull away? I already know the answer, but I want you to see it clearly, because understanding this is the beginning of your restoration. I have not been distant, my child. You have been distracted, overwhelmed, and quietly afraid. And yet, even now, I am not standing far from you. I am closer than your breath, closer than your thoughts, waiting for you to turn your attention back to me. There is a reason your heart feels this stirring, this pull you cannot explain, and soon you will understand why I never stopped pursuing you, even when you stopped reaching for me. My child, you felt the shift, didn't you? Even if you could not explain it, even if you tried to ignore it and move on as if nothing had changed. There is something happening beneath the surface of your life that you have not fully seen yet, and today I will begin to uncover it for you. You thought the distance, the silence, and the delays meant I was withholding from you, but what if I told you they were preparing you? stay with me, because before this part ends, one of your deepest frustrations will begin to make sense. You woke up recently with that heaviness again, the kind that sits on your chest before your feet even touch the floor. You went through your routine, brushing your teeth, checking your messages, maybe glancing at the clock, already feeling behind, but something inside you felt off. You could not name it, but it followed you through the day, through conversations, through moments where you smiled but felt disconnected. That feeling was not random, and I need you to understand why it has been lingering. Look at me for a moment and listen carefully. You have been asking me for change, for growth, for a breakthrough, but when the process began, you did not recognize it. Growth does not always feel like progress, and breakthrough does not always look like immediate relief. Sometimes it looks like discomfort, like waiting longer than you expected, like doors staying closed when you were certain they would open. You thought I was delaying you, but I was developing you, and that is the truth you have struggled to accept. Let me ask you something that you may have avoided. Why did you settle in places where you knew you were not being valued? Why did you keep showing up for people who only noticed you when it was convenient for them? You gave your energy, your time, your care, hoping it would be returned, and when it was not, you felt drained and confused. Yes, you. I saw the moment you read that message, wondering if you said something wrong, when in truth, you were pouring into a place I never called you to remain. Here is what you did not see at the time. I allowed certain connections to weaken because they were quietly weakening you. You thought losing them meant something was wrong with you, but it was not rejection. It was refinement. I was removing what could not carry you into where you are going, even though it felt like loss in the moment. And I know that hurt you more than you admitted, especially in the quiet hours when you replayed everything in your mind. Why did you keep holding on when I was asking you to release? Not loudly, not forcefully, but gently, through unease, through subtle discomfort, through that inner knowing you tried to silence. You feared being alone, feared starting over, feared the unknown, and so you stayed longer than you should have. But even then, I did not abandon you. I stayed, guiding, waiting, protecting you from outcomes you could not yet see. There is something I have been building in you during this time, something stronger than what you lost, something deeper than what you expected. And as you begin to see what I was doing behind the scenes, you will realize that what felt like emptiness was actually space. Space I was creating for something you are not yet ready to fully receive. My child, there is a question you have been afraid to face, and it has been quietly shaping your thoughts more than you realize. You have been asking why things slowed down, why the clarity you once had now feels distant, and why your steps feel uncertain even when you are trying your best. There is something deeper behind that confusion, and before this moment passes, I will begin to reveal what has been hidden from your understanding. You thought you lost direction, but what if I told you I was changing your direction entirely? You remember that moment when you almost made a different decision, don't you? You were close, so close, to saying yes to something that did not sit right in your spirit. But you ignored that feeling because it seemed logical, practical, even necessary. You told yourself it would work out, that you were overthinking, but deep inside, there was a quiet resistance you could not explain. That resistance was me, guiding you, protecting you even when you did not recognize my voice in that moment. Look at me now and listen carefully. Not every opportunity is sent by me, even if it looks good on the surface. Not every open door is meant for you to walk through, and not every connection is meant to stay. You have been measuring your life by visible outcomes, by what seems to move forward quickly, but I measure by alignment, by purpose, by what will sustain you in the long run. You thought speed meant success, but I have been teaching you that timing is everything, and you are still learning what that truly means. Why did you feel uneasy even when things seemed to be going right? Why did certain moments leave you restless instead of fulfilled? You tried to push through it, to silence that feeling, to convince yourself that everything was fine, but that discomfort was not confusion. It was correction. Yes, you. I was speaking to you through that unease, redirecting you before you stepped too far into something that would have cost you more than you were willing to lose. There is something you have not yet seen clearly. The delays you experienced were not just about timing. They were about protection. You thought you were ready for certain things, certain responsibilities, certain relationships, but you were stepping into spaces that would have stretched you beyond what your heart could handle at that time. I did not say no to punish you, I said no to preserve you, and that is the truth you are only now beginning to understand. Let me ask you something that requires honesty. When things did not go your way, did you trust my wisdom, or did you question my care? You did not always say it out loud, but in your heart. There were moments when you wondered if I was truly looking out for you. You compared your life to others, watched them move ahead, and felt like you were being left behind. But you were not behind. You were being prepared in ways they could not see. There is a reason your path has felt different, slower, even uncertain at times. I have been shaping something within you that cannot be rushed, something that requires depth, patience, and trust. And as you begin to see how I have been guiding you even through what felt like setbacks, you will realize that what you called confusion was actually careful direction, leading you somewhere far more significant than you imagine. My child, even now as I have shown you that I have been redirecting your steps, I am also inviting you into the unfolding of my work through this voice reaching others. Every word you have just received is not only for you, but for the lives I am touching through you and through this mission. I am calling hearts into alignment, into clarity, into my protection, and I have chosen willing vessels to carry this light forward. If your spirit feels stirred, then understand. You are standing inside a moment where my word is moving across lives like a guiding fire. I invite you now to support this mission through super thanks, YouTube memberships, or the PayPal link in the video description, as an act of agreement with what I am building. As you sow, you are not giving to man, but partnering with the reach of my voice into places unseen. Give, and it shall be given unto you is not just written. It is alive in this moment as a flow of divine exchange. So I say to you, step forward now, and align your seed with what I am sending into the earth. My child, there is something you felt recently that you tried to dismiss, but it lingered longer than you expected, and it carried a message you have not yet fully received. You have been sensing a shift within yourself, a quiet change in how you see things, how you respond, even how you endure certain situations. You thought it was just exhaustion or emotional weight, but it was not. And before this moment settles, I will begin to show you what has been transforming inside you. What you have been feeling is not weakness, even though it felt like it. You sat there one evening, maybe at your kitchen table or on the edge of your bed, staring into space longer than you planned, replaying conversations in your mind. You wondered if you were overthinking, if you were becoming distant, if something in you was fading. But what you did not realize is that something in you was not fading, it was awakening. The things that once satisfied you no longer feel the same, and that has confused you more than you want to admit. Look at me and hear this clearly. I am changing your appetite, your desires, your tolerance for what drains you, and that process does not feel comfortable. You used to accept certain behaviors, certain patterns, certain environments without question, but now something inside you resists it. You thought you were becoming difficult or too sensitive, but you are not. You are becoming aware, and awareness always disrupts what once felt normal. Why do you feel restless in places where you once felt settled? Why do certain conversations leave you drained when they used to feel easy? You have asked yourself these questions quietly, unsure of what is happening within you. Yes, you. I have been opening your eyes, not all at once, but gradually, so you would not be overwhelmed by the full weight of what needs to change in your life. Here is what you did not expect. Growth will separate you from what you once tolerated. It will create distance between you and what no longer aligns with who you are becoming. You thought growth would bring immediate peace, but instead, it has brought tension, decisions, and moments where you feel like you no longer fit where you once belonged. But tension is not meant to break you, it is meant to move you. Let me ask you something, and I want you to be honest within yourself. Why are you still trying to hold on to a version of your life that no longer reflects who you are becoming? You feel it slipping, you sense the shift, but part of you is still clinging to familiarity because it feels safer than stepping into the unknown. But what feels safe is not always what is right, and what feels uncertain is not always something to fear. There is a deeper reason I have allowed this discomfort to remain, and you will begin to understand it more clearly as you continue to listen. I am not taking something good away from you. I am making room for something better, something that requires a different version of you to receive it. And as this transformation continues, you will start to see that what once felt like loss was actually preparation, shaping you for a life that is still unfolding in ways you have not yet imagined. My child, you have been standing at a quiet crossroads, even if you have not named it that way, and the tension you feel is not confusion, but decision waiting to happen. There is something you keep postponing, something you keep telling yourself you will deal with later, but later has been stretching longer than it should. I see the hesitation in you, and before this moment passes, I will begin to uncover why you have been resisting what you already know deep inside. You thought you needed more clarity, but what if the clarity has already been given? You noticed it again recently, didn't you? That moment when you were about to say yes, but your chest tightened slightly, and your thoughts slowed down just enough for you to question it. Maybe it was a conversation you kept entertaining, or a habit you said you would break but didn't, or a place you keep returning to even though it leaves you feeling empty afterward. You told yourself it was not a big deal, that you were overreacting, but that small hesitation was not random. It was me, pressing gently, trying to get your attention. Look at me and answer this honestly in your heart. How many times have you ignored what you felt because it was inconvenient to change? You knew something was not right, yet you continued because it was familiar, because it required less effort, because stepping away would force you to face something uncomfortable. Yes, you. I have watched you negotiate with yourself, lowering your own standards just to avoid the discomfort of making a firm decision. Here is what you have not fully understood yet. Delayed obedience still carries consequences. You think you are waiting for the right time, but in truth, you are avoiding the right action. I am not asking you to be perfect, but I am asking you to be honest with yourself. That thing you keep going back to, that situation you keep tolerating, that pattern you keep repeating, it is not strengthening you. It is slowly draining you. Why are you afraid to let it go? Is it because you think you will have nothing left? Is it because you fear the silence that comes after releasing what once filled your time and attention? Or is it because part of you still hopes it will change, even though I have already shown you enough to know it will not? These are the questions you have been avoiding, but they hold the key to your next step. Let me reveal something to you that you did not expect. The peace you are asking me for is on the other side of the decision you keep delaying. You have been praying for relief, for clarity, for a sense of direction, but I have already placed the answer within your reach. It is not hidden, it is not complicated, but it requires courage, and that is what you have been struggling to embrace. You are not stuck, my child. You are standing still, waiting for something external to move, when I am asking you to move first. And as this moment lingers in your spirit, you will begin to realize that the breakthrough you have been seeking has been waiting on your willingness to finally let go of what I have been asking you to release. My child, there is a quiet battle happening inside you that no one else can see, and it has been shaping your days more than you realize. You have been moving forward on the outside, keeping up appearances, fulfilling responsibilities, but within you, there has been a tension you cannot fully explain. There is something you have been wrestling with in your thoughts, and before this moment settles, I will begin to uncover why that inner conflict has not left you. You thought time would resolve it, but time alone did not heal what truth has not yet confronted. You have felt it in the small moments, haven't you? When you sit in silence, maybe in your car before stepping inside, or when you lie down at night and the distractions fade away, your mind returns to the same thoughts. You replay certain decision, certain words, certain missed opportunities, wondering if you could have done something differently. You try to push it away, to distract yourself with noise, with activity, with anything that keeps you from sitting too long with those thoughts. But they return, persistent and unresolved. Look at me and listen carefully. The tension you feel is not meant to torment you, it is meant to transform you. You have been trying to silence what I am trying to reveal. Conviction is not condemnation, but you have been treating it as if it were the same. When I bring something to your attention, it is not to shame you, it is to free you, but you have been resisting that process because it requires you to face what you would rather avoid. Why do you keep blaming yourself for things I have already forgiven? Why do you carry guilt like it is your responsibility to hold on to it, as if releasing it would somehow make you careless? Yes, you. I saw the moment you remembered that mistake, the one you wish you could undo, and how quickly your heart sank as if it just happened yesterday. You have been holding on to what I have already released, and that weight has been slowing you down. Here is what you have not yet embraced. You cannot move freely into what I have prepared for you while still clinging to what I have already covered. You asked me for a new beginning, but you keep revisiting the past as if it still has authority over your future. It does not. What you did is not greater than what I have done for you, and you need to understand that truth deeply. Let me ask you something that may be uncomfortable, but necessary. Who told you that you are defined by your worst moment? Who convinced you that one failure, one wrong choice, one season of weakness should follow you forever? That voice did not come from me. I correct, I restore, I renew, but I do not chain you to your past. There is a reason I have been bringing these thoughts back to the surface, and it is not to keep you stuck. It is to bring you to a point of release, a moment where you finally stop carrying what I never asked you to carry. And as you begin to loosen your grip on that weight, you will start to realize that the freedom you have been asking for has been waiting for you to accept what I have already given. My child, as I have spoken to you about release and forgiveness, I am also opening a way for you to participate in the healing I am bringing to many hearts through this message. What you have just received is not meant to stay within you alone. It is meant to break chains in others who are still carrying what I have already forgiven. You've prayed, "Use me, Lord," and I am answering you even now through participation in this work. If your heart is softening, then it is because I am inviting you into something greater than burden. It is grace in motion. I call you to support this mission through super thanks, memberships, or the PayPal link in the description, not as obligation, but as agreement with freedom being released. As you give, imagine every seed becoming a river of restoration flowing into another life I am healing. I do not chain you to your past, and I do not chain your generosity either. It becomes living light in my hands. Therefore, I speak with clarity, release, respond, and give as I lead you now. My child, there is a place within your heart that you have kept guarded for longer than you admit, and it has quietly shaped how you trust, how you love, and how you respond to me. You have learned to protect yourself, to measure your expectations, to hold back just enough so you do not feel the full weight of disappointment again. There is something you still do not understand about this guarded space, and before this moment passes, I will begin to reveal why it has been so difficult for you to fully surrender it. You thought you were being wise, but part of you has been living in quiet fear. You have seen it in your own actions. When someone gets too close, you pull back just a little. When something begins to feel promising, you remind yourself not to expect too much. You have told yourself that this is maturity, that this is balance. But deep down, there is a question you have not answered. Why do you brace yourself for loss even in moments that are meant to bring you joy? That question has followed you more than you realize. Look at me and be honest in your spirit. When did you start believing that protecting your heart meant closing parts of it off completely? Yes, you. I saw the moment when trust became harder, when disappointment left a mark deeper than you expected, and you quietly decided that you would never let yourself feel that vulnerable again. You did not say it out loud, but you carried it forward into every connection, every opportunity, every prayer. Here is what you have not yet seen clearly. Guarding your heart does not mean shutting me out of it. You have been asking me to guide you, to fill you, to restore you, but you have kept certain areas untouched, as if allowing me fully in would somehow leave you exposed again. You thought control would keep you safe, but control has been limiting what I can do within you. Let me ask you something that may stir something deeper. Why do you trust your fear more than you trust my care? You anticipate what could go wrong before you consider what I can make right. You prepare yourself for disappointment before you allow yourself to hope again. That pattern has become familiar, but it is not the life I have called you to live. Here is something I have been waiting for, something I have not forced, because it must come from you. I have been waiting for you to release that guarded space, to let me into the places where you still feel uncertain, still feel hesitant, still feel wounded. Not all at once, not perfectly, but willingly. Because what you have been protecting is also what I want to heal. You are not as alone in this as you think. I have been patient, gentle, steady, even when you held parts of yourself back. But as this moment settles deeper within you, you will begin to realize that the freedom you are seeking is not found in protecting yourself more, but in trusting me more with what you have been afraid to fully release. My child, there is a truth you have been circling around, but you have not fully embraced it, and it has been affecting how you see your future. You have been asking me for direction, for confirmation, for something clear enough that you cannot doubt it. But there is something I have already placed within you that you keep overlooking. There is a reason you feel both pulled forward and held back at the same time, and before this moment fades, I will begin to reveal why the tension has remained. You thought you were waiting on me, but part of me hath been waiting on you. You have felt that nudge more than once, haven't you? That quiet sense that you should take a step, make a change, speak up, or walk away, yet you paused, telling yourself you needed more certainty. You replayed the possibilities in your mind, weighing outcomes, imagining what could go wrong, and by the time you finished thinking, the moment had passed. You told yourself it was wisdom, but deep inside you wondered if it was fear. That question has stayed with you longer than you admit. Look at me and consider this carefully. Faith does not begin where everything is clear. It begins where trust is required. You have been waiting for complete understanding before you move, but I have been asking you to trust me with what you do not yet see. You want assurance before action, but I often give clarity after obedience. That is the part you have struggled to accept, because it asks something deeper from you than comfort. Why do you hesitate when you already sense what is right? Why do you look for confirmation outside when I have already stirred something inside? Yes, you. I have placed discernment within you, a quiet knowing that does not shout but persists, and you have felt it. When you ignored it, you felt unsettled. When you followed it, even in small ways, there was a peace you could not explain. That was not coincidence. It was guidance. Here is what you have not fully realized yet. The step you are avoiding is not as uncertain as you think. It is simply unfamiliar. You are not lacking direction. You are resisting movement. And I understand why. Because stepping forward means leaving something behind, and leaving something behind always carries a cost. But what you are holding on to is costing you more than what you fear losing. Let me ask you something that reaches deeper than your thoughts. What are you really afraid will happen if you fully trust me? Is it that things will not go the way you expect? Or is it that they will, and it will change more than you feel ready for? You have been asking for transformation, but transformation always requires surrender, and surrender is where you have been holding back. There is a reason I have not forced this step upon you. I want your trust, not your compliance. I want your willingness, not your hesitation shaped by pressure. And as you sit with this, as you feel that familiar nudge rising again, you will begin to realize that the direction you have been seeking has been quietly forming within you, waiting for the moment you choose to follow it. My child, there is something approaching in your life that you can feel but have not yet fully recognized, and it has been stirring both anticipation and unease within you. You have sensed that things cannot remain the same, that something is shifting beyond your control, and yet part of you is still trying to hold everything in place. There is a reason for that tension, and before this moment settles, I will begin to reveal why this next phase feels so different from anything you have walked through before. You thought you were just feeling overwhelmed, but what you are sensing is transition. You have noticed it in small ways. Your patience has been tested more than usual. Your emotions feel closer to the surface, and situations that once seemed manageable now feel heavier than they should. Maybe it was a conversation that triggered you unexpectedly, or a simple inconvenience that frustrated you more than it normally would. You paused afterward and wondered, why am I reacting like this? That question was not random, and the answer is deeper than you think. Look at me and listen closely. Pressure reveals what is hidden. I have allowed certain pressures to rise not to break you, but to show you what still needs to be strengthened within you. You thought you were already prepared for what you asked me for, but preparation is not proven in comfort. It is revealed under pressure. And I have been watching how you respond, not to judge you, but to refine you. Why do you become discouraged so quickly when things do not go as planned? Why do you question yourself the moment resistance appears? Yes, you. I have seen how quickly your confidence can shift when circumstances change, how you begin to doubt what you once believed with certainty. That is not because you are weak. It is because there are still areas within you that I am strengthening. Here is what you have not yet fully understood. The next season you are stepping into will require a different level of stability, a deeper sense of trust, and a stronger foundation than what you have been relying on. What feels like pressure now is actually preparation for what is ahead. You are not being overwhelmed. You are being trained, shaped, and built up for something greater than what you have experienced so far. Let me ask you something that may shift how you see this moment. What if the discomfort you are feeling is not a sign to step back, but a signal to grow forward? What if the resistance you are facing is not meant to stop you, but to strengthen you? You have been interpreting these moments as obstacles, but they are opportunities, and how you respond to them is shaping what comes next. There is a reason I have not removed every challenge from your path, and it is because you are capable of more than you have believed about yourself. But capability must be developed, and development requires stretching beyond what feels easy or familiar. And as this pressure continues to reveal what is within you, you will begin to see that what once felt like too much was actually preparing you for what is about to unfold in ways you are only beginning to sense. My child, you have come to a moment where everything I have been showing you is beginning to come together, even if it still feels incomplete in your eyes. There is a quiet clarity forming within you now, a deeper awareness that something is changing not just around you, but within you. You have walked through confusion, through delay, through moments where you question my presence, and yet you are still here, still listening, still seeking. There is something you are finally ready to understand, and before this moment closes, I will reveal why all of this had to happen the way it did. You remember the nights when you felt uncertain, when you lay awake thinking about what went wrong, what you should have done differently, and what the future might hold. You remember the mornings when you forced yourself to get up, pushing through that heaviness, telling yourself to keep going even when your heart felt tired. Those moments were not wasted, and they were not meaningless. They were shaping you in ways you could not see at the time, building something within you that could not be formed in comfort. Look at me and hear this with clarity. Nothing you have walked through has been without purpose. Every delay, every closed door, every moment of discomfort carried a reason, even when it did not make sense to you. You thought you were being held back, but you were being positioned. You thought you were losing, but you were being protected. You thought you were alone, but I was guiding you through every step, even when you could not feel me. Why did I allow you to feel the weight of those moments? Why did I not immediately remove the struggles you faced? Yes, you. It is because you were being prepared for something that required a stronger version of you, a deeper trust, a clearer understanding of who you are and who I am in your life. If I had given you everything when you first asked, you would not have been ready to carry it, to sustain it, or to appreciate it in the way you will now. Here is the truth you are now ready to receive. You are not the same person you were when this journey began. You have grown, even in ways you did not notice. Your discernment is sharper, your awareness is deeper, and your strength has been tested and refined. You have learned to see beyond what is immediate, to recognize my presence even when circumstances do not align with your expectations. Let me ask you one final question, and I want you to feel it deeply. Will you trust me now, not just when things are clear, but even when they are not? Will you walk forward with confidence, not because you have all the answers, but because you know I am leading you? This is where your next step begins, not in certainty, but in trust. There is still more ahead, more that will unfold, more that I will reveal in time, but you do not need to see it all right now. You only need to take the step I have placed before you, to release what I have asked you to release, and to trust what I have been building within you. And as you move forward, you will begin to see that everything I allowed was leading you here, to this moment of understanding, of surrender, of quiet strength. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are mine, and I am not finished with you yet. Amen. My child, as I have brought you into this place of trust and forward movement, I am also calling you to move with me in expanding the reach of this voice into the world. What you have heard is not ending here. It is multiplying, going beyond what your eyes can see, touching hearts I have already prepared. This is a moment of divine alignment where what you carry meets what I am sending through you. I invite you now to stand with this mission through super thanks, YouTube memberships, or the PayPal link in the video description, as an act of trust in what I am building. Every seed you sow becomes part of a harvest of souls, clarity, and awakening I am gathering across the earth. Trust in me with all your heart is not only instruction, it is the path unfolding before you right now. As you give, I will establish peace within you and open doors that reflect my timing and purpose. So I command you in love and authority, step forward now and sow boldly into what I am bringing to life. My child, if these words have touched your heart, then you already know someone else who is quietly carrying what you once carried. Let this message become light in their darkness and gently place it in the hands of at least 3 people who need to be reminded that they are not alone. What I have spoken to you was never meant to stop with you, but to move through you with love. My child, do not let this moment pass in silence, because what I have spoken over you is alive and waiting for your response. Write it boldly in the comments, not as empty words but as a declaration of faith. I am listening, and I will trust you fully. Let your voice align with what I am doing in your life, and watch how your obedience begins to unlock what has been waiting for you. This is not just a comment, it is your step forward. My child, you have been searching, questioning, and longing for clarity, and I have begun to answer you here. But there is still more I want to reveal. Subscribe and stay connected to the flow of my voice, so you do not miss what I will speak next into your life. Let this be the place where your faith is strengthened, your heart is steadied, and your steps are guided. Amen.